Kabocha squash is AKA a pumpkin. What's awesome about this, you don't have to peel it. You just have to de-seed it. This is something that I learned from one of my really good friends from undergrad days. She's from Laos, and her mom actually showed me how to use this pumpkin. And she's the one who told me to leave the skin on because, you know, in Asian culture, when you eat more of the parts and pieces, you get more of the benefits of the food. Pretty mainstream, you can get it anywhere. You can use any kind of pumpkin for this as well, but we happen to sell kabocha, so I'm going to show you how to use that. Tamarind, sour fruit, used to make a base, and so it is kind of a standard for Southeast Asian hot and sour, if you will, to use tamarind. And so I'm going to use the powder form because it's just easier to keep handy for 30-minute meals. Lemongrass. If you want to keep it fresh, throw it in a glass of water, stick it outside in the dirt, and it'll reroot itself for the most part. But it's a great aromatic, and if you want to not throw this away, you can compost it, or you can throw it in a food processor and chop it all up finely, and then you can use it to make like a grill marinade. Because it's so fine, then it's easily digested. Okay, lemongrass is not really easily digestible, so you don't want to just like try and eat a big chunk of it. You want to cut it real finely if you're going to use it. So we're going to bruise this baby, just like we did for this, to get the oils to come out when we use it for the soup. Kaffir lime leaves. If you're lucky enough to be in an area that has access to them, you want to buy them up and you want to freeze them. And that's what I did because we're having a hard time keeping it in stock. So I took some and I froze it. So that's why they're not as bright green anymore, because it's starting to oxidize. So it's starting to turn a dark green, but it smells fantastic. And we're going to leave them just like that. You can bruise them by just scrunching them before we put them in the soup. Kaffir lime leaf. People say you can use ginger to substitute galangal. They totally do not taste the same. But if you're in a pinch, sure, why not? But this is galangal, and this is ginger. I brought both to show it to you, okay? They are both tubers. They're both very woody things. Galangal will give you a workout to try and break it up. This is ginger, okay? So if you can't get your hands on galangal, and I highly recommend either fresh or frozen, the powdered stuff, I think it's just trash. Like, unless you're using it to make a spice or something, like a rub. If you're making soup, don't just stick with ginger if you can't get galangal, okay? Mushrooms. Use any kind you want. I really like straw mushrooms. I really like straw mushrooms. And so all we did was open a can, rinse them really well before we use them. I also would recommend that you use black wood ear fungus if you can get that too, because it adds nice crunchy texture. So this is going to be soft. You're going to have soft in the tofu. You'll have somewhat chewy in this, but you'll have crunch if you put wood ear mushrooms in there too. Okay? And then this is just coconut milk. I just went ahead and opened 2 cans so I didn't have to really dump it all in there, set it, and come back 30 minutes later and then pick out the lemongrass, pick out the kaffir lime leaves, and then serve it. And you can serve it with rice if you want, noodles if you want, or just have it just like that. I'm going to show you how to cut up the kabocha, okay, and tofu. Tofu is real easy. I'll show you how to do that. So we're using a medium hard tofu. I list firm for you guys because that's usually what you're going to find in a typical supermarket. But you can use any level of texture. The difference in texture is based on how much of the soybean curd is retained and how long they press it on that, okay? Let me wash my hands. All you're gonna do is not hold it like this, like I was going to, because that's what I do, is you're gonna slice it. And again, everything about the same size. You're welcome. I saw you. Okay, we're just gonna cube it. And then all I'm doing is trying to get to the middle, or get it to split open so I can get to the middle. And a kabocha squash about this size yields about 3 cups. Okay, so you can find it smaller, great. Guess what? This one also does really well as a dessert.
What?
Yes, so good. Steam it with sugar, or steam it and then mix it with some sugar and coconut milk. It's excellent. They even, there's some Indonesian recipes where they make a custard. So they'll cut the kabocha squash open like this, spoon it out, they make a custard and they pour it in here and they steam it, and then when it's done they slice it, and that's like a dessert. It's really cool. The only part you don't want to leave on is where the stem was. That part is pretty hard and it is not palatable and it never breaks down. That's just not fun for me. Okay, let's see if I can get this going. Ah, I got a nice one. Being friendly to me. Pass it to you guys, and then I'm going to slice you a piece of ginger so that you can smell how different they are. Chicken stock. I need more chicken stock. Yeah. 2 cups? Man, that's nice. Give me another 4 cups. So this is what the tamarind soup mix looks like. I mean, it's just a processed tamarind soup mix. You can do it from scratch if you have time on the weekends with fresh pulp. And you just like making raspberry sauce, you just put it through a sieve and just scrape on. The coconut milk, I'm gonna pour it right in.
Does it matter full fat or non-fat?
I prefer full fat. Low fat tastes like watery coconut. It's like
fat.
I'm cutting into it because I want it, since this is such a quick soup, I really want it to come out. Okay, so I'm just breaking it open and throwing it in there. Tiger chilies, if you want to put it in there.
Let's do it.
I'll slice them up for you to throw it in yours. You slice it in the middle to open it up so that the soup can permeate into the seeds. And then if you don't want it to be in everyone's, you just pluck it out. Okay? Adjust the seasoning to it. So if you happen to have a bottle of fish sauce sitting around in your house because you don't know what to do with it after you only use a tablespoon for that little recipe you had, this is a great place to use it.